Rampage.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another brand new video about the show with those weirdos that wear zombie skin, The Walking Dead. Warning, beyond this point, there are spoilers for people who are not up to date on The Walking Dead comic book series and TV show. In this video, we're going to continue our look at all of the most iconic moments in the Whisperer story arc in the comic books. Again, we'll have pretty much all of the Whisperer footage to date included to help give an idea of how these storylines might play out in Season 10 all the way through the inevitable Whisperer War. We're also going to speculate on how the survivors will change if and when the Pike deaths happen and speculate on who could die in the war next season. The first moment we'd like to explore is one of deep sadness, and one we might see in the Season 9 finale, if not in the Season 10 premiere, the aftermath and funeral for the Pike death victims. This moment is one of the most intense collective instances of mourning in the entire series. This shot here shows the closest loved ones of the survivors reacting to the news of the Pike deaths. Each survivor deals with the news in different ways, but it's clear this mass murder has had a powerful impact on all of them. This iconic frame is one of the most depressing ones in the series. All of the survivors are gathered outside the church while a metaphorical storm of darkness is brewing in the sky. The next moment we want to look at is after the funeral. The survivors have a community meeting to discuss how to handle the Whisperers, and a mutiny breaks out. Seeing Rick and Maggie attacked by their own people is a strong moment, and one we probably will get in the series, minus Rick and Maggie, as we've seen the survivors fight each other many times in the past. This moment is a direct result of all the unrest amongst the survivors as Rick feels out of options and actually goes to Negan for help.
You're just getting it ready for me.
We know we can't see this moment in the series as Rick is gone and Negan has already escaped, but we think it's still possible one of the survivors will look to Negan for a helping hand before all this Whisperer business is over. The next moment is one we've already seen in the series, Negan's escape. In the series, it was Father Gabriel's failure to close the cell and the guard's failure to check the door that allowed Negan to escape. But in the comics, the son of one of the Pike victims breaks Negan out. Negan proves to still be a heartless killer as he murders the guy who set him free right next to the place where his mother died.
It's because you got no guts.
That moment leads us into this one, Negan meeting the Whisperers for the first time. His reaction to Beta is great and is hopefully a moment we do get to see in Season 9 as the timeline here is a bit different from the comics. Negan convinces Beta not to fight him and that he wants to join the Whisperers. We can totally see that. Imagine Negan in a Whisperer suit. That moment carries us into this one, as Michonne and Aaron run into Beta and his crew while they're looking for Negan. Aaron gets stabbed here in this moment, but lives to get some sweet revenge, which we'll talk about later. Michonne fights savagely, even though she's outnumbered, and just as we think we're going to see her die, Dwight comes to the rescue. We really can't wait to see Ryan Hurst in action. This moment here is also Negan related, as it's the first time he meets Alpha. He manages to win her over quickly, which Beta does not like. This side of Negan, not in charge, trying to work his way up, would be interesting to see, and we hope there is some kind of equivalent to that moment coming in the series. Negan would stay with the Whisperers for a short time, and even show he has some kind of heart as he stops a woman from being raped. We think we may get that moment in the series, as it will illustrate that Alpha is even worse than Negan as she allows rapes to happen. This big moment here is one of the major causes of the Whisperer War. When Negan finally has Alpha's trust, he takes a play out of Rick Grimes' handbook and cuts her throat during a moment of realization. Negan cuts Alpha's head off to take to Rick as a sort of peace offering. This act actually does convince Rick to allow Negan to remain free, although he has to live alone in an outpost. The next moment we want to focus on is the declaration of the actual Whisperer War. Beta is so distraught over the loss of Alpha that he tells his people there will never be another Alpha and decides to go to war in her name. Ryan Hurst eventually delivering this speech will be terrifying. This moment here is one we think will definitely come to pass. Father Gabriel is a lookout on the water tower when the Whisperers and their herd approach. Gabriel tries to leave to warn the others but breaks his ankle on the ladder and gets stuck. Beta comes along and helps him out by ending his pain forever. This moment was kind of foreshadowed as an Easter egg back in Season 8, and we believe it's definitely coming. The only thing that's unclear as the timeline is Negan's escape happens at a different time in the comics and precipitates a bunch of events that we may or may not see before the season ends.
This is a huge deal.
This moment is the first big battle of the Whisperer War. Beta and company lead the attack into an open field, similar to All Out War in the TV series Season 8 finale. Dwight leads the main force and starts to get overwhelmed to the point where he actually gives Negan a gun, who shows once again how good he is at killing. Negan and Beta finally get into it, and it looks like Negan will lose when we get to this iconic moment: Negan getting Lucille back. We're not sure how this will play out in the series, as we feel Negan will look for Lucille before he does anything else, but if Michonne lied to him about Lucille's location and the survivors do have it, then this moment could come to pass. Maybe Dwight stashed it somewhere before Daryl exiled him. Negan hits Beta so hard with Lucille that he breaks her. A few whisperers drag Beta away to safety, but the big moment here is seeing Negan cry over a piece of wood, which is equally funny and insane. He eventually goes on to bury Lucille and make a grave for it. We really hope we get to see that happen on TV. The survivors do win this battle, but the remaining whisperers flee. Dwight has a great idea to wear the whisperer skin to track them. There are rumors that Daryl will do the same thing this season, but we could possibly see that happen numerous times if it's effective, like survivors rubbing walker guts on their clothes. Michonne in the whisperer suit is pretty awesome here, and the tactic works as they take out a lot more whisperers. After that moment, we see where Beta and the last of the whisperers went. Beta actually kills one of his own who tries to look at his face. That's commitment to the mask, people, and a messed up moment. Next, we have the last attack of the Whisperer War. Beta and the rest of the Whisperers take flaming arrows to the hilltop, and Carl is almost killed as the first shots are fired. The hilltop fights bravely here, and Lydia proves she's one of the survivors now as she kills numerous Whisperers. Although the hilltop burns to the ground, the survivors win once again and send Beta running for the hills, away from the hilltop. This next moment is pretty crazy as Beta finally unleashes Alpha's horde of zombies. An entire herd of herds attack. This moment is actually the end of the Whisperer War, as Beta and his small group are not part of this onslaught. The survivors manage to fight off the horde, although they suffer one serious loss. In the comics, she becomes Rick's wife after Lori died, and he loved her deeply. She was way cooler than her TV series counterpart, and her goodbye was a very sad moment in the comics as she would eventually turn from her bite and Rick had to be the one to put her down. The last moment we'd like to talk about is the return of Beta. The Whisperers are absent for numerous issues, and just when the readers kind of forgot about him, he ambushes Jesus and Aaron. The duo prove their fighting skills, and Aaron finally gets his revenge on Beta. After demasking him, they realize he used to be a professional athlete. We wonder if that same twist will happen in the series, but we know eventually the Whisperers will fall. That's it for our iconic Whisperers moments, everyone. We know the show is not the same as the comics, but we think Angela Kang will hit most of these beats. We believe the survivors will turn against each other after the Pike deaths, and the Whisperers' legacy will last long after they're gone as they change the survivors forever. Will Negan earn his freedom instead of stealing it? We don't know if that will happen, as Michonne hasn't seemed too forgiving lately. Will Dwight return for Season 10? We think it's highly possible, as he did play an important part in the war. Who else could die after the Pikes? If Gabriel does make it that far, he's a prime candidate.
Whatever you have to do.
Tara could also be taken out, possibly during the attack on the hilltop, and also because we do expect Maggie to eventually return. Eugene plays an important part in the next story arc called New World Order, so we think he's safe, but you just never know with this show. Who do you think will die after the Pike deaths? Thanks so much for watching our videos, everyone. As always, we're on the lookout for new clues and hints about what's coming next for our favorite apocalyptic survivors. Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Follow us on Instagram at Binge Rampage, turn on the notifications button for our channel so you can see our next video as soon as it comes out, and don't forget to subscribe.
You are creepy as shit, sneaking up on me wearing that collar with that freaky ass smile.
My apologies.